Yo, we living in a world where the shadows creep. Got the government watching every move, no sleep. They got their eyes on us, trying to keep us in line. But we stand tall, ready to redefine. Who you calling when the system's gone wrong? Good citizen media, we the voice in the throng. You people unite, we the force that they fear.
Ladies and gentlemen, great to see you. Welcome in.
Clear. What do you do when the man is corrupt? Can't call the law, they all in the cup. We rise up strong, we won't back down. Government watchdogs taking back the crown. Charges fabricated, they throwing the heat. Run us through the courts, but we can't be beat. They trying to silence us, but we got the truth. With every beat drop, we reclaiming our youth. Standing our ground, we the ones that they chase. But we push back hard, running this race. No fear in our hearts, we got the power to fight. Illuminate the darkness, we bring in the light. What do you do when the man is corrupt? Can't call the law, they all in the cup. We rise up strong, we won't back down. Government watchdogs taking back the crown. So when they come knocking, we answer with pride. Good citizen media, we won't be denied. You people together, we rewrite the script. Standing for justice, we'll never be clipped. So raise your voice, let them know we're awake. We the watchdogs, we got what it takes. The government trembles when we take a stand. Together we rise, united hand in hand. What do you do when the government's bad? You call on the truth, you call on the rad. Good citizen media, you people in the game. We the watchdogs and we ain't playing tame.
All you bad government actors, we see you, we're watching. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Accountability's coming.
What do you do when the man is corrupt? Can't call the law, they all in the cup. We rise up strong, we won't back down. Government watchdogs taking back the crown.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Great to see you. We had Lori in here first with a hi, everybody. We also got John Denicola in the chat, but we also have John Denicola on the panel. So, you know, we've got him in both places. Double the pleasure, double the fun. We also have Ska. We've got Ska, and then we've got Robert, and then we've got John again. We also have a special guest with a GCM. We want to introduce our special guest today.
Oh, yeah. So, coming from Fowler, Colorado, we've got Mr. Jeff Culley. Welcome in, Jeff.
I'm here.
Morning.
Good morning.
It's a beautiful day.
Beautiful day. It'll be a nice day to get back out into the field once we get done with this. So, a bunch of work to do.
Right. Well, we'll try and keep it short and sweet for you, Jeff. We know you're a busy man.
No rush. It's gonna be beautiful all day.
Well, how about you go ahead and introduce yourself, give us a little introduction to yourself, and basically what the show's about today. Like, what are we going to talk about today?
Jeff Culley. I here in Fowler, Colorado. Lived here for a little over 7 years. My wife and I operate one of the 2 remaining farms within city limits here in Fowler, Leaning Tree Micro Farm. We also have a large e-commerce business. We mostly work from home. I used to work in film, television, advertising, aerial cinematographer. Spent 30 years hanging out from working from helicopters, about 15,000 hours airtime. I mention that because people say I'm nuts, and after 10,000 hours of airtime, I'm going to agree with that. I took it a little further. The farm here is right in town next to the awesome new high school that's been built over the last year or so, and real mellow Nice place. I happen to love it here. I spent a year before I left New York, again, working in film, television, advertising, and the news for 30 years. Spent a year looking where to go and to grow the specialty produce that we produce, put out here at the farm. Hot peppers, heirloom tomatoes, things that aren't too common anymore. This is a unbelievable environment, and I love the town. Gotten to know hundreds of people over the years. Spent a little time in the fire department when I first got here. Great way to meet people, embed yourself in the community. It was a bit of a cultural experience, but I was expecting that and looking forward to it. And I'm here today. There's a trustee seat open again. We have a revolving door of local politicians, and I've thrown my hat in before, followed through once, didn't follow through another time. But this time, there's an open seat. They were going to appoint some people. They decided to go for a special election. So yeah, collect some signatures. There's a couple people out with petitions, collecting signatures for me. Really appreciate that. It's also nice to see the support. And we will see what happens. Fowler's, again, it's a great town, but the government leaves a lot to be desired. And I and a lot of other people don't feel that they really have the best interests of the population of Fowler, the good people of Fowler, in mind. And that's one of the reasons it's been a revolving door. So I figured give it a shot, and if I become part of the revolving door, well, I prefer that doesn't happen, but I suppose it could. So we will see. That's if I get elected. Last time I ran, I got 22 votes, which was 18 more than I thought I would. So we'll see.
Well, that's good. So what do you think? So what do you think are some of the things that could be changed now in the short term in Fowler, in your opinion, like some of the quick changes that could happen?
Not, this, I hate the word changes. I hate the word fixing. I'd rather say, improvements, take some things to the next level. So everybody here gets a little more out of it. We have a serious problem with our water, both the quality, the delivery, and the cost. The Ark Valley conduit is on its way. It's going to be here sooner than everybody expected, which is a good thing. Will Fowler be opting in? I would say yes, and find and write the grants to fund what is going to be necessary to connect to that. What we're getting right now, if you look at the testing that comes back, both from the town, they're forced to send test results once in a while. Haven't seen them in a few months, but whatever. It's basically toxic waste, and it's that can be fixed. I believe Fowler did get a grant to either put in a filtration system, or put in a treatment system, but they went with replaceable filters because it was cheaper. Not going to work. We have to think longer term. Then, okay, we can patch this for a year, we can patch this for 2 years. No, the water is a big issue. The billing, if you're on water and sewer, you're paying over $100 a month for what? Toxic waste? I mean, that's ridiculous. The other issues, aside from we need some strong, committed, confident leaders that will actually stick around for more than maybe a year. They get elected, they get appointed, they quit in small numbers, they quit in large numbers. I'm not saying they're bad people. Our current mayor, okay, I knew him on the fire department. He is a good guy. Sean Swope, Mayor Sean Swope. He's a really good guy, smart kid. I've done dozens and dozens of EMS runs with him as a medic, first class. I would trust him with anything, including my life. But here's the thing. There's a bunch of people like that, good people. They don't necessarily make good politicians.
Well, that I kind of agree with that, because it just seems like a lot of the politicians out there have no conscience.
I could rag on A, B, C, D, E, F, G regarding a bunch of them.
Right.
A couple I probably would. I'm gonna not do that here this morning. But there are some. I do know some good people. Sean is one of those good people. He just hasn't been effective. He was a trustee. He quit when he was a trustee. Now he's back as, I believe, the appointed mayor. I know the kind of hours he's got to be running as a full-time medic. and to try to do this and wrap your brain around everything. No, it's just best intentions, no delivery. How's that? The trustees are more of a revolving door. I think 4 quit a year ago, January. Another one quit a month ago. Most of those were appointed, and that needs to
Well,
stop.
why do you? I'm
That needs,
sorry. Why do you think? Why do you think it's a revolving door? Why do you think that the people come in and then they leave so quick? Like, what do you think is the issue there?
I would say it goes in order. Time. Are they really committed? Are they up against realizing that it's futile? You know, it's a waste after a few months. Do they get frustrated? I don't know. I honestly don't try to get inside their heads. It would probably be a place I really don't want to go. Putting it nicely. But if you're going to, if you want to represent the town, you really want to represent the people, then you have to stick around for a couple of years, even if it gets screwed up or gets a little worse before it gets better. Sometimes is the case. I prefer it not to be. You have to stick around and see it through, and that's what we don't get here. So, but funding for water would be easy to find. We've had huge issues with the police. Right now, we're looking for our 6th police chief in 7 years. And you can blame the police or the selection of the officers, chiefs, etc. I'm going to say it comes down again to poor leadership, poor administration, mainly. Now, we do have a brand new administrator here in town, Colton Powell. Nice guy. He's actually qualified, where our other one was not. She took some type of correspondence course to make the state qualifications. This guy's a business degree. I think he's going to be in for a bit of a surprise when he starts digging into, let's say, the town books. I don't know if you've ever looked at the budget or anything like that. It's like a paint by numbers game that somebody.
So speaking of the budget, does
Fowler
have?
It looks so bad. You're reading it and you're looking at it. And you're like, do I smell something cooked?
Does Fowler have any way of generating revenue other than, say, fines and fees? Like, what do you see happening there?
We have Fowler took over the golf course, I believe, early last year. And from what I've seen on the numbers and heard on some of the meeting reports, it's costing them some money, but I'm not going to pass judgment on that from a financial or budgetary standpoint after 10 months. Okay. If it doesn't pan out, which I don't know. I honestly don't play golf, so I don't really follow that. There was a vote on last November that Fowler wanted to increase taxes to pay for, in this order, golf course, police, and road maintenance. If they had put that in a slightly different order, it might not have gotten shot down 4-1. It's about priorities. Will the golf course make the money that it really needs? I don't know, and you can't judge after less than a year. Otherwise, it's all about the sewage, the water. Those are the bills, endless fees, code enforcement fees for stupid things. That happens everywhere. They have a farm that they lease, barely makes the mortgage payments. So it's, we were discussing backstage before the podcast that, Sugar City has its waste removal business that makes it a fair amount of money. Fowler doesn't have that. What Fowler needs is to really spend some time. The government, needs to spend some time, or have someone like myself, heavy grant research, and then write those grants and bring the money in. There's a lot of money out there. Rocky Ford just got a huge.
Well, other than grants and fines and fees, they only have the one cop there in Fowler, so they're not generating any revenue from the cops, right?
Yeah.
Like, so code enforcement maybe a little here or there, right? So they're really not generating anything. I mean, there's got to be a way to change that course of direction, and I believe, like you say, there's grants available for a lot of things if they could figure out what direction is gonna, because ultimately a golf course and police isn't gonna generate the revenue I think they're looking for, you know?
No, and it's not. And the other thing they need is to allow more homes to be built. They put sewage connections to the town septic system all over undeveloped properties a bunch of years ago. Has anything sold? Has anything allowed to be developed? Try to do a subdivision here in this town. I did. Shit show. It was one of those things where I walked out like saying, wow, I feel so much dumber after this meeting. And I think my IQ just went down 10 points because of the vacuum. It's counterproductive. I know somebody who wanted to build a number of homes in a larger development, and they try to double charge for water taps, double charge. And, of course, those mayors and
Do
the
you know
people.
what they charge off the top of your head for the water
I do
taps
not.
there?
I
No.
do.
Okay.
It's
Because we do, that's one thing we do kind of keep track of in each town is what's their water and sewer tap fees. We just had a raise. We helped Rocky Ford get theirs up a little bit, I think, because they were running way low. Now they're more competitive, and again, that's one way to generate fees. But again, you have to let the people build, or you're not going to get that small fee.
Yep.
But
and you hear from some of the politicians, they say that, we have serious water issues, which is true. And then we have other politicians in the same crowd who will go on about how we have no water problems. So there's a serious lack of continuity between the trustees, the mayor, and those running the town. Even right now, they're making contradictory statements. That's bullshit. Why do it? Be on the same page, people. If you're not on the same page, get there or resign and let somebody else come in, because you have to be able to tell the people what's really going on. We deserve to know what's really going on. We generally elected you.
I just wanted to step back for a minute, Jeff, and I wanted to go back to the golf course issue because I find that a lot of the golf courses generally come with some type of tax exemption. So if they're giving the golf courses some type of tax exemption, they're not bringing in that money from the golf course.
I understand that dynamic, but here the golf course was taken over as part of the town. It's a municipal entity, maintained by the town, et cetera, et cetera. So before that, it wasn't. It was private, quote unquote, or leased from the town, I believe. I don't remember exactly. Again, I don't ever play golf, so I haven't followed that at all. It would be something I'd look into. I've seen it on the budget. I've seen the revenue updates on it, but that's all I know. They would be giving themselves a tax break if they went that route with this golf course, because it is town owned, operated, etc. It's not like some of the golf courses up north or in other states where I know exactly what you're talking about, but that's not happening.
That kind of raises another question. You were talking about the finances for the town, and you got a treasurer over there who is doubling as the court clerk, along with the mayor of Sugar City. Now, how do you think that all those roles play into what's going on in the town? And why, as a treasurer, is she not giving the numbers out as to what's going on and where the money's going and where it's coming in?
I don't know. I've heard some and read some on the news about the Sugar City is missing a bunch of money, being investigated. She's the mayor. She's also our treasurer and our court clerk. Again, focus, commit to one thing, try to get some continuity. If you're going to do all of these different things, no, I don't see it working. I mean, you're taking 2 paychecks out of Fowler while being the volunteer $1 a month mayor of Sugar City. No. And again, if you look at the books, last year's budget, it's, I keep smelling something cooking. And sorry. Anyway, they need better people running the town as far as the government goes. And we have one now, a new administrator. Again, a qualified administrator, but we need some better people working the town office too. Absolutely. Did we disconnect?
I don't know.
So I guess a good question and a good follow-up question is, what is it that you want to try to do other than, the grant writing? What else do you want to try to do to betterment the town?
Well, it's a transparency in the government, complete transparency. Um, also eliminate the disconnect. You watch some of these meetings online and people asking questions, and the response from the elected officials, they're treating them with disdain. They're treating them with disrespect. They dismissing them almost, it sounds like, oh, you're a lesser person. Why are you bothering me with this? Did somebody say it was okay to ask that question? Did someone say it was okay to speak to me? That's the attitude they put out. Lose it. Again, we all live here. If for some reason I want as a trustee, I think Vegas right now is giving me about the same odds as a snowball in hell. I'll take them. But, if we're going to serve the town, serve the people. That's who ideally elect us, vote on. They should be more included in some of the budgetary things. Like, I would have liked to have seen the golf course go to a vote. Does the town want it? Does the town not want it? And that would force, okay, what's it going to bring? What's it not going to bring? What's it going to cost?
Do you guys have wards and districts there?
In Fowler? No, we've got about 1,000 people. Maybe.
So it's all going to be one vote. No, it doesn't matter by the district or the ward there, right?
No, Fowler's.
And where can people sign your petition?
We have a couple people. We just picked them up 2 days ago, and I have been admittedly in the field work. It's been so wet, snowy, muddy. Nobody's been able to get into their fields. I just got into mine. We're 2 months behind schedule. I played with 100 yards of composted manure this week since Monday. So I'm done with that now. So I'll be taking petitions around town starting tomorrow, and we have until the 17th. But we already have, I believe, 12 or 13 signatures. Again, you need 10, but I want to meet a bunch more people. So I'm going to be going through stores and around town. And again, it was lovely to see a few people, ask to carry the petitions for me. Again, remember, I said I think I got 22 votes last time, and that was 18 more than I expected. So having people actually carry my petitions to get me on the ballot, well, that's kind of cool. Different.
So any questions that come through the chat, I'll highlight them up here on the screen for you, Jeff. Is Jeff a Democrat or Republican or other?
Republican. Actually, old school, small government, Reagan Republican. I say that because my father worked for President Reagan, at the White House in the 80s. We lived in D.C. And small government, states' rights. Not that state rights has anything to do with the trustee seat here in Fowler, but small, transparent government. And I know it's outdated Republican outlook, but it stuck with me most of my life. And I would like to see basic politics operating here in Fowler, but Republican.
Nice. Hey, so a question about the environment there in Fowler. Recently, we've had some communication with people in Fowler on Facebook. I had recently made a commercial about a gentleman that made a statement about grab your pitchforks and torches and chase the outsider.
Yes, that I saw that
town, and
I have to admit,
I had another gentleman ask me if I could take it down, and I told him, well, I'll take it down on one condition, that if he supplies me with 2 pictures, one saying subscribe to you people in GCM, and then the other picture was supposed to be him holding up a sign that said outsiders welcome, and he blocked me. I'm not feeling the love there, Jeff. What's your opinion on the locals versus outsiders thing?
Well, that exists everywhere. I grew up moving every two years or so. So I'm not really from anywhere. And I've watched this dynamic growing up. young adult. Now I'm 56, older. The AARP finally found me, bastards. But it exists everywhere. I've dealt with it here. I guess I've learned, because I grew up moving constantly, to just ignore it. But it's stupid. However, it's not a high percentage of the people, a large percentage of the people. I know a ton of people here in Fowler. We bring hundreds and hundreds of people through our farm stand here every season, sometimes hundreds and hundreds every month in peak season. And you don't run into that very often. There are a few, okay?
Right.
There will be. And I think, they're best just ignored, or make fun of them. You guys did a great job making fun of that. That video was brilliant. And I find that,
Please take it down. Please take it down.
if you
They hate it when they see themselves in the mirror, right?
Yes, and because they're getting called out with their face, not just behind some screen name on goddamn social media. No offense, but yeah, they're called out with their face and their voice and along with what they wrote on social media. Yeah, shame them, embarrass them, have some fun with it.
Right.
You can rant and rage and go on and on. I will do that occasionally, especially when it comes to people who abuse children. No patience whatsoever. So I guess I can say it on the show, go fuck yourself. But
Right.
otherwise, have some fun with it, embarrass them, and put them out there. And you're going to get the same response you got from Pitchfork Boy every time. That was beautiful. So yes, there's always going to be, they're outsiders, they're not from here.
Those torch forks sold out.
Look at, you look at that division exists everywhere, not just towns.
I bought two.
Religion within towns. Oh, you don't go to our church, you go to the other church. Oh, you don't go to this group of people who hang out, you go to the other group of people who hang out. There's no difference. It's stupid because we are a community. And that's what I want to bring back or improve on as a trustee, about being a community. Because if we don't get it together as a community, we're screwed as a nation.
Right. Well, and then you don't grow either. I mean, I was just wondering because, we run into it in a lot of the small towns here in Southern Colorado, and it seems to be a very big thing. You're not from here. You need to get from here. And I find it funny because it happens in areas that expect tourists or travelers to come through. You know what I'm saying? So like they expect that revenue, but then you're going to have people out there making comments like that. And it varies. Like you said, it varies. I mean, I think at least 3/4 of Aguilar doesn't want anybody in there.
Yes.
And like you said, I mean, it's probably only just a small few where you're at.
Yep. It existed where I moved from. Okay. Out in
So
people refer.
I mean, I just wanted to go ahead.
It existed where I came from in the Hamptons. There was the locals, those of us who had been there for a long time, and then there was the city people who came out for the summer resort thing, the expensive homes and whatnot. We called them citiots. Oddly, I was in the East Village long enough that when I went back out there, I became a citiot just by default. I was fine with that because I think it's all funny. Sad and pathetic at times, but it happens everywhere. Yes, it happens here. So they're not going to want me anywhere near that.
Hey, chat, wherever you're from, what do you call your people that come down and annoy the crap out of you? What do you call your people that come down and annoy the crap out of you? Pennsylvania and Jersey, they got shoobies.
I call that my wife.
Oh, John.
So
she better not be there.
But
trust me, she knows.
Oh shit.
You're going to see less.
The population's about 1,000 there, you said, right?
Yeah, right around 1,000, I think, give or take, 10%. But you're seeing less and less of that. When I moved here 8 years ago, there was more of that. The demographic has changed, the attitudes have changed, and it will continue to. And that's a good thing. So I'm not really too concerned about it. The people who make all the noise about the outsiders and this and like Pitchfork Boy, get a grip, and join the community.
They asked, what businesses are you affiliated with in Fowler?
Me personally? Leaning Tree Microfarm. We run a 20,000 plant specialty produce farm right here next to the school, behind the house, and a 5-platform e-commerce operation that was something my wife did on the side that we built into a 2-warehouse kind of monstrosity. We are the post office's largest customer because of what we ship week to week, have been for years. Otherwise, it's the farming. We brought the farm stand back to Fowler for the first time in, I think, over 15 years last summer. And this will be our 5th year of the old Colorado City Farmers Market at Bancroft Park, selling heirloom tomatoes and dozens of types of the world's hottest peppers. We have a hot sauce company, about 35 items in that. There's all kinds of stuff that we do, but it's all farm-based. Yep, that's our farm. So Mother Nature threw us a curveball. My greenhouse got crunched in the November snowstorm, as did a lot of hay barns and other things around here. I spent a good part of the winter rebuilding, and we're going to start planting about 20,000 seeds in the next couple of days. We farm.
Let me ask you, Jeff, do you think that a lot of what's going on in government today has to do with the fact that we've been complacent for about the last 30 years when it comes to not only just government officials, but police, the whole works?
Well, yeah, but we also were on a great economic run for quite a long time with a couple of hiccups, 2007, 2008. But generally speaking, things been running pretty smoothly. And as long as the population, general public, is focused on doing their thing, not too many worries. Again, little things are gonna go up and down here. We'll have some large bumps, like the financial crash, but you're not gonna notice. And yeah, so you become complacent, and that's a perfect word for it, because that's where we're at right now. Oh, we elect them, let them do whatever. Unfortunately, on a lot of fronts, letting them do whatever is why we're looking for the 6th police chief in 7 years. That's poor administration, poor government. Our water system and the quality of the water could have been dealt with, even without the Ark Valley conduit, which won't be here for, I believe, another year or two. There could have been some things put in place, make it way better, maybe so you could actually drink it. We don't, most people don't. But poor administration, poor elected officials, that's why these things don't change. And they just perpetuate not doing much. Or in this case, the last 7 years that I've seen, that's all I can speak for. That's as long as I've been here. That's a lot of police chiefs. It's a lot of officers. It's a lot of elected officials using. I'd love to see where the revolving door is. Maybe go through it once just for, check it out. Unfortunately, with that came a lot of bad press, especially related to the police. If you Google Fowler Police, you can see pretty much the last 5 or so police chiefs, their officers, made the news in not so positive ways. And that bums me out, because Fowler's a really nice place, really good people. We deserve better press than that. I've worked to bring better press. We've had KOAA here for our nonprofit work, been on multiple podcasts about the farm, the hot sauce company, some of the food things we do. Push Fowler and its produce at the markets, our dried peppers, which ship all over the world every day, proudly grown in Fowler, Colorado. We try to bring the good light, the good press. I would like to see our local government do a little bit more of that themselves.
Well, that kind of brings me to another question. I mean, I know that you were saying that there were some issues with like billing when it comes to whether it's water or whatever. Do you think part of that is the piss poor training that they have, or the fact that they're bringing people in that don't actually understand how billing should work?
I think it's a little bit of everything. Plus, I'll be honest, the town's coffers are that empty on a regular basis. They're desperate to find fees, fines, and other things to try to make up for poor administration and bad budgeting. I'm not excusing it, but that's why it's being done. So We've talked about the water billing. They have an app. Okay. It's a joke. I've worked on big commercial apps back in New York for advertising and whatnot. This one is a bare bones shoestring bushel basket at the auto parts store app. And if you pay your bill, it takes so many days before your money hits Fowler that, if you pay it on the 19th, it's due on the 20th, you're going to get a late fee because they weren't going to receive it until well after that, and they'll hit you with a late fee. Now, that's BS. There's two reasons that it could be happening. One, if Fowler has control over the app, which they should, in the office, in the administration, they could set the payment timing. All right. When you swipe a card, I swipe a card, instantly it comes out of our accounts. Usually will hit the person, whoever you're buying something from, within 48 hours. All right. That's normal, sometimes faster. It doesn't take 5 or 6 days unless it's intentional. So either Fowler can reset that to make it comes out of your account, that hits them 48 hours later. Everybody's happy. Nobody gets late fees. What I think, is that the app company is giving them the app and use in exchange for holding the funds for 5 to 6 days to ride the interest. It's a few percentage, a percentage of a point. But when you do it so many times across the country, handling water billing system, they're going to make a bank on it. And, but it screws all of us here, all the people in the community who are like, I'm paying it on the 19th or I'm paying it on the 20th. It should show paid out of my account and Fowler's good. No, over and over and over. It didn't hit until the 25th. Is that my fault? Is that my neighbor's fault? Is that the guy down the street's fault who's going on and on about Facebook? Why did I pay it and I still got a late fee? Poor administration, poor leadership. Get on the ball, get it right, and it'll improve relations with the local community, who, again, they're great people. But all you're doing with situations like that, the water bill is a perfect example, the water app is a perfect example, is you're screwing people and basically telling them, fuck you.
Well, right, and you said it before that the billing system in itself is kind of outdated and needs to be worked on it as well. I mean, do you think that just basically they're running out of they're pretty much running off of outdated systems for the most part, and this is what they're used to, and they just don't want to change it, or what?
Yeah, if you saw the computers they run in the office, I wouldn't be surprised if they're running Windows 95 and programs for Windows 95. That has nothing to do with the water billing app for the phone. That's actually fairly new. It's just, again, either Fowler set it to screw and delay the payments hitting so they could get late fees, or the company who is giving it to Fowler is taking a percentage based on holding the money for 4. Maybe it's usually a 5 business day thing. That's how this stuff works. But they could have chosen a better company to work with.
They could work with Cash App and it would work a whole lot better.
Yeah, or Swipe Simple. We use Swipe or Simple Swipe. We use their tiny little boxes in our iPhones at farmers markets up in Old Colorado City. Here, you swipe a card, it comes out of their account instantly. It batches into our business account literally 48 hours later. Fowler could do the same thing. They chose not to. I don't want to say they had no idea what they were doing when they put that app together and chose that app setup. Maybe they didn't, but they chose poorly. That can be fixed.
Maybe it's something the community needs to,
in an hour. It could be fixed.
Yeah, maybe it's something the community needs to show that is important to them, And just a shameless plug here. Savage Broadcasting has been covering the Fowler meetings. So all you guys out there that want to see the Fowler meetings, make sure you subscribe to Savage Broadcasting, and that way you can stay in the know of what's happening if you can't go, because I know timing of these meetings, a lot of real life people can't make it, for real life reasons. So it's always nice to have it to watch back and be informed when they are being transparent. Yes. Or not. Sometimes them not being transparent shows just as much as them being transparent, right? So
Well, yeah, it speaks volumes, absolutely. But we also, I'd like to see more people showing up at these meetings, whether virtually or
I
in
think
person.
that that's a great point, Jeff, because I think that if a lot more people start to get involved in what's going on in their government,
Yep.
and I'd like to hear your thoughts.
I think a lot more people should ask a lot more questions. Show up at the meetings. Again, you're not taking a ton of time. We are somewhat lucky. Fowler's meetings usually Mondays at 6 o'clock. You can get it online. You can watch it online. You can actually ask questions online. A lot of people are very busy. I understand that, but I would like to see more interaction, community to elected officials, community to administration, especially because we have a new administrator in town who I personally have high hopes for, Colton Powell. Sharp kid, and again, he's qualified from the degree standpoint. I think he might be able to help clean some things up, but the disconnect between all the great people who live here and those elected officials, that needs to be eliminated.
Completely agree with you. There is a lot of change that needs to happen, and it's going to take time. It's not going to just happen
One,
overnight. We all know this. It's going to
one
But
of
take
the
time.
it's
one of
fair,
the questions that came
easy
in
stuff.
would your seat affect any of your standings with your businesses? Would any of those have anything to benefit from you gaining the seat? Basically,
Would any of my businesses?
correct.
E-commerce, no, because we never get orders from, we occasionally will get an e-commerce order from Pueblo, but most of it goes all over the country. So that's not really going to do a thing. A lot of people know about the farm. We're very high profile. We are directly next to the school. You can't miss us. This is our 5th year. So I'm going to say no. The trustee seat wouldn't really affect any of that because we're really well established. Last year, literally front to back of the field, anything that got picked got sold. We had a maybe laundry basket pile of stuff that fell off or rotted on the vine or didn't get picked or whatever at the end of the season. We've been working towards that, but had never accomplished it until last year, running both stands. I suppose if I'm a trustee and I'm sitting out here at my farm stand, it would make me more accessible as a local politician. If people have a question, hey, show up, shoot the shit at the farm stand. I'll be sitting here, during the week where people know we're working in the field. But then again, people do that anyway. They know we're here. They stop by. They want to see where things are at in the field. Would it change as me being a trustee? I don't know. Maybe I'd get a few people coming over and say, I want to get some produce. I want to get some hot sauce. And since you're that trustee on the board, you're an asshole. Well, yeah, I'm an asshole, but I'm also going to work really hard if I get on the seat, the trustee seat. So.
Right. Yeah, and I would agree. I don't see where it would be a conflict.
No.
And it would. You'd be more accessible probably than most of the board members.
And I'm very accessible anyway because I work from home.
So far, from Fowler, Sean Luttrell's the only one who's come on the show, made a presence, and answered questions. Like the rest of them, been pretty reclusive, and he made it pretty clear that they weren't happy he was coming on here.
And I give Sean a huge amount of credit for coming on your show. Seriously.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
We may have some, issues back and forth, but issues back and forth and expressing them, okay? Communicating back and forth on them. That's democracy. Am I wrong? Versus hiding behind a glass partition in the administrator's office or, oh, we're not going to talk about that right now, and blowing off people with questions in board meetings, which some of our trustees do. Sean at least put himself out there. I'll put myself out there. I would like to see others put themselves out there so people can go on, ask questions, see who we are.
Yeah, I couldn't say him and I agreed on everything, but he came on and was as transparent as he could be.
Huge credit. A
So
lot of people won't do it. I don't mind getting in front of the camera. I don't mind answering questions. I've been doing this type of thing my whole life.
so Another one that comes up here, Jeff, is the grants again. Those grants. What would you plan to do with the grants as far as writing them? What grants would you target? Any information off the top of your head pertaining to grants that you would
First,
pursue?
first and foremost, there are some police funding for police grants. Love to get a, be able to pay the regular officers and a police chief, especially because we really need a higher paid police chief who's going to give us a quality, police chief. We can find funding like Rocky Ford did for police, all kinds of funding. Water. There are all kinds of grants to help improve the water quality, the water delivery system. Whether we're going to end up connecting to Ark Valley Conduit or the Ark Valley Conduit, I believe it's called, or not, that's not for me. Even if I was a trustee when it happened, it's not for one person to say. I would have to say that should go to a vote unless it's a government mandated thing from the people who are installing it. But we can, in the interim, get some grants to improve the water we're dealing with right now while we're waiting for the Ark Valley Conduit to get here. Whether we hook into it or not, hey, let's at least fix and improve some stuff that we got going right now. Police, the water, I would love to see, and there are some empty buildings around town that might be possible to use. I will give the town government credit. They tried to get one of the buildings they tore down at the school for a kids rec center, something for the kids to do.
Yeah, GoCo has a lot of grants out there right now too.
And there's a lot of money available. A lot of people say, oh, well, the federal grants and the public grants, they're all drying up. They're all being cut. The foundation grants, and those are the ones I've been specialized in writing for a long time. They're not going anywhere. We discussed earlier, there's a lot of grant money out there that they can't get rid of because nobody's writing the applications for it. So police funding for improving the immediate quality of our water. And because I generally raise $300,000 to $500,000 a year for children's nonprofits and have for a long time, I would love to see some type of rec center outlet for the kids in town. There's not a lot for them to do. And they did want to take that school building that the school tore down and the rebuild. I don't know the story behind that, but there are other locations. And as you said, there's a lot of money out there for exactly that. Let's get it. Put it into use. Why not? They have to do something. Sitting around, this is going to be the next board's problem. Well, the next board's usually 6 months or 12 months later because you people keep quitting. You know what I mean? Do we lose the connection?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
No, I understand what you're saying. I mean, and like I say, there is definitely a lot of grants out there. Like they say, the children are the future. There's got to be something for them to do, or they're gonna find something to do.
There's money out there for all kinds of things. Not just to get money to help get a building rehab. You can get money for programs, all kinds of different things. But it takes a little time to look into. Grant writing at that level can be a pain in the ass. I'm a pain in the ass. Let me do it.
Well, and it has to be welcomed, right? Like you've said, you've offered your services before.
Never followed
and it wasn't even an option.
No. And meanwhile, I'm writing $250,000 grants for other outfits that, boom, boom. And I've been doing this. I mean, come on. The first big grant writing, there was a National Endowments for the Arts grant in 1993. That's when I started and been banging them since. It's important to do, especially for the nonprofits, because that's drying up more and more. But for municipalities, they are not drying up. The money's there. Go get it. Let's do some things for the community.
Lots of it. DOLA, GoCo. I mean, there's a lot of the main ones out there that they help with so much stuff, but if you don't ask, they ain't gonna help you.
Or if you don't actually fill out the application and send it in, well, you're not gonna get a thing. So,
yeah,
but that's where I'm Well, especially when it comes to fundraising, that type of thing. Well, I do it with everything. I just as gung ho as they get. I kind of don't stop, and that would be the same attitude as a trustee, whether it's with the grant writing, helping fix some of the water issues. I'm sure there's a lot of other issues that people in the community would want addressed. I'd love to hear about them and see what we can do.
Right?
Does
Isn't that
the
isn't
rest
that
of the board want to hear about it? Some of them I think do, some of them I think don't.
right? Well, I mean, isn't that the point behind all this, and the trustees and the board and everything is to work for the people, to make the community better for the people? Like, isn't that the whole point?
That's one of the things that I would try to bring, probably meet some resistance and some acceptance. That's fine. I'm good with either. I'm not going to stop.
Well, I mean, if we stop, then what happens, Jeff?
We become complacent, and this is why we are where we are with local government in a lot of different places around the
Well,
country.
then what happens, Jeff?
Well,
I mean, if
okay.
everybody just complies with the government, Jeff, what happens?
You know, I'm going to leave that one alone.
As you
I
said
respectfully
before, man,
on that to avoid getting into a rant about how quickly shit could go down the tubes. How's that?
It's rough out there, man.
Yep.
It really is. I mean, and you've said before, you know, we have, it has to start somewhere.
No,
So
we've got a great community, again, full of great people. You know, the government needs.
I believe it. I mean, I
Sure.
think
Sure.
me and the Torch Fork boy are going to be best buddies.
I don't necessarily know about that, and there are outliers in every statement about a community full of great people. You
I
have a
think
couple.
he wants to take me fishing, Jeff.
So, again, a ton of great people. The government needs to remember they serve the people, not the other way around. And also just either be committed and be serious about being a trustee, look at the word, or get the hell out. Let somebody else in.
well, and we've had
They've been good at, again, because they quit and then get appointed in mass quantities. I mean, we've burned through, I don't know how many mayors in the last 5 or 6 years, too. It's
Yeah, but look at the burden that puts on the next person, though. You see, like, I can understand why you've got a revolving door as it stands now. And we've had guests before where they say, you know, you've only got a select few. Like, let's take Mayor Dwayne. Mayor Dwayne's comment was, you've only got a select few in the community that actually want to do the work, right? But if you've got a revolving door, the work just builds up. And for a person that's never done it before, it's very overwhelming, and then they end up leaving.
yep.
And
And
I think that,
I totally understand that.
yeah,
It's unfortunate and it needs to stop, but I understand. So
right. And that's what I'm trying to get to is I think that I think the people need to come to the understanding that, yeah, there are issues, right? But it can't be handled with a revolving door, because you keep taking people out. You're just going to keep adding new people in that need to be reinformed. You're just doing everything all over again. I mean, you've got.
yes. Yeah. And with the problems with the police, the water, you know, you're basically reinventing the square wheel over and over.
For the people and the community, not just, you know, their own selfish, you know, little things on, hey, I got the title, or, you know, now I've got power over this person or that
A lot
person.
of it, unfortunately, is a power trip. And that's what we see the way the people in the town office treat pretty much anybody that walks in there. You know, they're on some high and mighty power trip. Fuck that. Who are you people? You're no different from me. You're no different from anybody else. They need to remember that.
Yeah, but see, that's where accountability comes into play, right? So let's take, I don't know how it is in Fowler right now because I haven't been as in depth, but let's take Aguilar, for example. You have two ladies in the office that have screwed everything up for years, can't even get the audits done. You want to talk about budgets? There's nothing cooking in those budgets, bro. Like, seriously. Like, I mean, like the thing was just like copy pasted, and you could tell it was just really bad over there, right? And you've got the administration that have done this to the town still in the building. They refuse to get rid of them.
Yes.
There's no accountability.
Yep.
And then the people attached to them can do whatever the hell they want.
Correct.
You know, like get a, you know, do assault on somebody, get charged for assault, but then it gets dropped down to disorderly conduct, unnecessary noise.
Yes, there's a lot of favoritism, unfortunately.
Right?
Hey, listen.
That, in my opinion, needs to stop. The accountability needs to be equal among the board, regardless whether you're up on the board or you're at the very bottom of the totem pole and you're homeless. Doesn't matter. It needs to be equal.
I agree.
Well, I think part of that goes to two things. One, the DAs that are prosecuting the cases, and two, the judges that are hearing these cases and allowing these deals to go through, especially knowing the circumstances. I mean, at the end of the day, if you can't get justice when you go to the police, you can't get justice when you go to the courts, there's nothing.
No.
So what do you have to do? Do you have to take and put the matters in your own hand?
No. What we need is, well, I would only be able to speak for Fowler Municipal, okay, as far as the laws, etc., because this is about being a Fowler trustee. In the same way that we could find somebody to get a better, more qualified, with the higher pay, much more motivated police chief, we can also probably find a town attorney and a municipal judge who are a little more in tune with reality, a little more qualified, especially when it comes to the town attorney situation, than what we're dealing with right now. Let's just say it is not the cream of the crop. In fact, I don't even think it's in the crop. It's something on the other side of the dirt road next to the field.
So Jeff, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can I ask you a question pertaining to this? So do you think, because I noticed that a lot of these towns, you can't be a trustee unless you've been in the town for like a year or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I've also noticed that they try to do that with like the town administrators and whatnot and so forth. So it makes everything like interconnected. Do you think if you guys opened it up to outside of Fowler, having people come in and work in these administrations or trustees or whatever? I mean, I can understand the trustees and the board being just for the town, but as far as like administration is concerned, working in town hall or whatever, do you think it would work better if you reached outside of the town and took away some of that in-town influence? You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, this person's connected to this person, so they know this person. You know what I'm saying? Do you think it would work better if you like try to take that chink out of the line?
Part of me does, but then it's going to come down to money. All right. A perfect analogy with this is there's a bunch of laws. We're going to be talking about the school here.
Much love, Brooke.
Wanted to level the playing field. So whether you're in Denver, Boulder, Springs, or rural Fowler, Sugar City, Rocky Ford, you have to be able to bring in an administrator or some of the administrative staff. There's grants to pay them the $100,000 plus jobs to keep them from losing the best people to the big cities. You familiar with that?
Somewhat, a little bit, yeah.
Unfortunately, it has not worked. Locally speaking, they passed those high-paying six-figure jobs around, and it's not just in the schools; it's in some other things, county-wide, that they pass it around, kind of like I don't even know how to describe it. If you're on the list and in the group, you will eventually get that position and the salary that goes with it. Are they actually actively trying to bring people in who are more than qualified from out of town? I don't see it. In this case, with our new administrator, he's not from Fowler. So we're going to give him some credit there, but we could use more like that. I wouldn't say have somebody from another town come, who lives in another town come into Fowler to be an administrator. They need to live here, so they have a grip day to day or available day to day on what's going on in town. Much like the police used to be required to live in town. That was good. Now our last chief and the chief before, which was her husband, they lived in Rocky Ford. If there was an emergency and they weren't on duty, you're looking at what, 15, 20 minutes to get here. They need to be made to live in town.
Well, no, I've just had a lot of people say that they think it would work better if the administration or the trustees were coming in from different towns and actually working for the people, not so much,
I think there's plenty of people here in Fowler who would work for the people of Fowler.
Well, I know
that's
it's coming out wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of hard to describe it, but it's like they feel that the connections in town is what's causing a lot of the issues within
I
the
understand
administration and the police and whatnot and so forth.
Small group of people. They've been referred to in La Junta before they got rid of a bunch of them. The cabal that runs everything, etc. I don't like to go there, but yeah, it can be a bit cliquey. All right, is the best word. Is a small group of people who get all of these different jobs and be in control, etc., etc. I believe, and I know there's a bunch of good people here in town who, if given the opportunity and allowed to do the work, we can handle it. We can handle it. A small town. That's the beauty of it. It's a small town. So we're not trying to run anything big here. And there's not a lot of changes that need to be made. A lot of things are great. A few things need to be improved on. So,
no, and you're absolutely right. But there is, and again, we have people reaching out to us all the time. But again, we keep getting the same thing over and over again that, they would step up. They would feel that they would step up. But then again, they've seen some of the intimidation in quotation marks that's happened to other people that have stepped up onto that board.
The one thing I would like to see, and I know
or the trustee or whatever, and they're kind of afraid to go through that type of intimidation or harassment or however they label it, because they feel that it's like just putting a giant target on your back.
Oh,
right?
You are. Absolutely. One thing, and I'm going to get shit on for saying this, that I would like to see, and I believe it's a state reg, is if you live within city limits, you can vote trustees, mayor, anything about tax increases or other things that Fowler town puts on the ballot. If you live in Fowler outside of city limits in the county, okay, you cannot vote in town. I would like to see that change, because there are some fantastic people, motivated people who live here in Fowler, but they're just outside city limits or half a mile outside city limits. They can't vote for town anything. They can't be a trustee. They couldn't be, you have to live within city limits. I am on the very edge. In fact, the city limits sign is at the end of my driveway. But
I completely agree with you on that, Jeff.
Regulation that can be changed to allow everybody who lives in Fowler County or city, I would lobby personally to get that changed. I've got a little experience lobbying too.
Right. Yeah. I completely agree with that. There's a lot of areas out here that are the same way. I mean, just all over. You've got, and I know what you're talking about. And if the people listening don't know what he's talking about, so you have the city limits of Fowler, and then you have the postal code of Fowler. And the postal code could be huge. It could span from, almost down to Rocky Ford, right? But it's just the city limits. So there's two boundaries that are within Fowler.
City of Fowler, and then Fowler, which is part of the county. Like literally next door to me, my next door neighbors, they live in the county.
Right.
And if you live in county, the county part of Fowler, 81039, then you cannot vote, participate in local government, anything like that. That needs to change, but I think that would involve some lobbying at the state level, and I'd be happy to look into that and happy to go up and talk to those folks too. So
now is it
a group of people, qualified, motivated, who would love to get involved, but they're prohibited from getting involved because they live outside city limits? That should change. Would that be a priority if I was a trustee? Honestly, police, water, recreational outlet for the kids, that would be top of my list. and I've brought this up with people in town before. Why don't we just, let the county people have the state change the regulation? And let's just say that the response wasn't real good.
Well, is Fowler a statutory town? Because I hear statutory towns can just make up their own laws as long as there's an ordinance.
That I don't know. I do believe there's a state law that keeps the city limits and the county separate, but I'm not going to quote that because I couldn't. I'd have to look that up, to be honest.
No, and I, to tell you the truth, I thought that was because of a statutory town stipulation. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research on that myself, Jeff.
I'd love to know. It's something actually, now that we've talked about it and we're here looking into, running for office again. Yes, Fowler is a statutory town in Otero County. Yes, it is.
Okay.
So, but either way, if it's Fowler, if it's the city of Fowler that's keeping the county people from being allowed to vote, well, that's easy to take care of.
Right.
But if it's a state thing, well, it might be a little more of a pain in the ass and some more work, but we could still take care of it and let everybody in Fowler run for office, vote, etc. That would be great. But can it happen? I don't know. I'll probably get crapped on for saying that, but that's okay. So again, I played with 100 yards of composted manure all week, so I'm good with being crapped on this week. Feel free.
No, we're not going to crap on you, Jeff.
Not you guys. I'm talking about anybody I'll be talking to.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to touch on before we end it here, Jeff? I mean, we're a little over an hour into it. I'm sure some people will watch it back. We've averaged about 20 people in here so far. So people are paying attention. I mean, anything that you want to get out there in your final message, any final questions in the chat? So we'll get this wrapped up. He's got things to do. It's a beautiful day.
If I can get on the board as a trustee, I'll have to run and get in January. So, put me on the board. If you don't like what you see, dump my ass in January. That's legit, right?
Right.
But I think there's a lot that, as a group, the trustees could do if we work as a committed, confident, motivated for the community group. If we don't, well, there'll be more of the same.
Okay.
And
right, because you just brought up a good point, right? It's a short term. It's a short term.
This one would be a short term, and then if I got in now, you'd have to run again in January. Whoever gets put in now would have to run again in January, and then I think that would be a 2-year term after that. I'm in, but it depends on how it goes. So, no, great town, great people. We need better, stronger leadership, plain and simple. And there's a lot of people out there, including myself, happy to step up, open our mouths, make some changes, and improve a few things that need a little work.
Any comments? Any comments on that question there? That's in the town government saying hurtful, racism, etc. on social media.
I've heard about a bunch of that. I haven't read any of it. Again, I don't read Facebook. I will shoot my mouth off about local government on sometimes a fairly regular basis. But I don't ever go back. I don't spend any time reading what everybody writes. Opinions are like assholes. We all have one. The racism stuff, I don't know what was written, what wasn't written, so I'm not going to say, one thing or another. I don't think it has a lot of place at this point. It's 2025. I'm I guess what people call a constitutional Republican. I believe in the Constitution, not too much beyond that. And Constitution is we the people. Country was founded on the basis of religious persecution, not being able to speak out, and all the different groups who came here, basically getting persecuted, burned at the cross, thrown in the ocean, boiled in oil, etc., few hundred years ago. Well, we all came here for a reason. So, racism, some of the insanity that goes on, the high drama online is A, why I don't participate. B, not a lot of place for it. I don't see that much of it. Once in a while, it'll pop its head up. Same way Pitchfork Boy popped up. The Outsiders. We get torches and pitchforks. Like torches and pitchforks, I'm gonna break out one of my real old film cameras if they show up with that shit, because that'll make some awesome footage for YouTube. We'll monetize the crap out of it. But it's just, unfortunately, given nationwide economic, social, all the other things going on, a lot of people are amped up, and I like to look at it as a lot of people are just ranting on things that, maybe they'll look at after and like, oh crap, I was just in a really bad mood. As far as the government, I don't know what was said, and I'm not going to go read it, so I'm going to leave it alone. And
I get it.
With what I just said, there's no place for any of this crap. All right, the locals, the outsiders, it exists. Should it? No. Racism, some of the other issues, the holier than thou attitude towards everybody, from the town officials and the people who work in the town office. Come on, man, it's 2025. It's bullshit, but it's still going to take some work to change. So
it is.
Well, that kind of actually brings me to a question, right? So I understand that a town official has been sending text messages in the wee hours of the morning to people. And I don't know about you, but I have never had my local official reach out to me at 2 o'clock in the morning to discuss.
No, I know what
to
you're talking
discuss.
about, and I know what you're talking about. A local official did that. Actually, has done it to several other people, but managed to send some random messages about we're still not sure what. Yeah, to my wife that came in at 2 in the morning, 7 in the morning on a Sunday. Fairly nonsensical, contradictory, and she had no idea because she wasn't part of that Facebook social media blow up that he was involved in either. So it was kind of more of a, are you kidding? And when it happened the second time, my response on Facebook was blunt. Because the first time it happened, I was like, are you, what is this about? Why are you even going there? You're mentioning personal stuff that we know nothing about. You want to discuss, you're talking about stuff from the board, which outside of the board setting is inappropriate, but at 2 in the morning or 7 in the morning is even more appropriate. But the biggest thing is it was nonsensical for the most part, what was sent. So basically, I gave him a strong kind of shut the fuck up comment. And will it help? I don't know. Again, people get on social media and just start going off on tangents, and then I don't know what's going on with that guy. But it was ridiculous. I spoke to the administrator about it. I expect it to stop. It's unprofessional, and it also is part of what makes local government look like a bunch of idiots. The way they treat the people around town, because I know we're not the only ones who were subjected to stuff like that. And part of it was kind of funny because you're looking at what he sent and you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? I mean, there's a lot of things that are vague that people write, a lot of things that make no sense that people write, and then there's just like freaking gibberish. It was kind of awesome from that standpoint. So
Well,
that
I guess that kind of brings up this question, right? Because when you have an official that's doing that and has done that before, I mean, clearly the conduct isn't changing. So why isn't the board saying to him, listen, either we're gonna censor you, right? Or you're gonna resign. I mean, at some point,
I
when do
know
you say enough is enough?
apparently all of this just went down, so the next board meeting isn't for a couple weeks or more. Maybe they are in process, maybe they will, maybe they won't. Let's give them till the next meeting to find out. I think that's reasonable.
I agree. And I mean, at that point, I would think that hopefully the board acts on
Or
what's been going on.
talk to them privately on their own about, hey, what the hell are you doing? This doesn't help our cause, doesn't help Fowler's cause, makes us all look like idiots. All those statements are true. So stop, you know? But that's up to them, not up to me. I'm not on the board. And the next meeting isn't again for a couple of weeks. So let's give them the time, see what they do. The guy continues with us and other people. They do nothing, then well, then we're going to make fun of him in some really, really harsh ways. But I think it'll stop because it's just stupid stuff. I'm hoping he was having an off evening, and you know, who knows? Maybe sleep texting. I don't know. You know. Let's give him an excuse for the moment. I already said some things which were a little harsh in response to that BS. Let's see if it continues. All right.
All right. All right.
Sounds good.
We'll leave it there. Jeff, thank you again for coming up and giving us all your insights and answering our questions.
No, I appreciate taking the time with me.
We greatly appreciate it. John, thank you again.
Really appreciate the time. And any questions anybody has, whether you guys, anybody watching, people in town, I'm very accessible. And I'm very direct. So reach out and we'll see what we can do. In the interim, you know, give me a shot at the trustee seat. And if you don't like it, boot me out in January.
I think that's an awesome slogan.
If I suck, I hit the road. I mean, you know, there's a number of ways you can play it. So,
right.
And as I said in my letter of intent announcing, you know, if I turn out to be a terrible politician and screw things up, I will have no choice but to rag on myself on social media and watch me do it. So,
and watch the meetings for Fowler over at Savage Broadcasting. She'll be covering those meetings here in the future.
Awesome.
So everybody, make sure you subscribe over there to keep an eye on Fowler and maybe Jeff here in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, great town, great people. Get out and vote, and let's see what we can do.
Right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming in. It's been about an hour and 17 minutes, and we gotta go let Jeff.
Yeah, I got to get out to my field.
Go play back in his fields and stuff. He's missing his fields. So, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful day.
They banished me, never to be seen, to a place where the air's always filled with screams. So hot that the land only grows weeds. A place filled with demons and ghosts, tumbleweeds. Betrayed by some comrades that too brute. I'ma get you all back. It's not if, no it's when. Better watch out, cause I'm coming for revenge. I'ma train hard, I'ma go far. I will learn with every new scar. Got a cold heart, yeah, feeling arc. Enemies give me energy from the start. Got an addiction to winning, so I will work till I get it. The sweat is dripping, I'm in it, I'll never stop till I finish. I'm feeling demons possessing, they took a hold of my vessel. The energy of a devil, yeah. A new man, a new me. Better watch out, you ain't never seen a beast. I don't always have control, he could be me. Got a chip on his shoulder and he got some sharp teeth. Anyone in my way, and anyone who betrayed, anyone I have to face, I'll wipe them out like the plague.
Miss you, Adam. Hope you're doing good, buddy. Give us a call.